Okay, so welcome to this part, and we are continuing with building two reports. So the two reports that we are going to be building is the leave create report and the leave approve report. So a report is a program that will enable the employees to submit their leave requests, and then the leave approve report will allow managers to approve or reject a request. Okay, so let's head over to the SAP system. So from our global class that we created, these are the methods that we created: approve requests, create requests, get employee requests, get pending requests, reject requests. So we need the employee to be able to create requests. They'll have access to a program, they'll run the transaction code, and straight away they create the request. So, of course, between the two, which one should we create first? We need to create the employee request program first, because before the manager can reject a request has to be created, right? So we need to test the backend logic end to end, and this report will allow us to test whether the number range is working, whether the create request method is working, and whether new entries appear as pending. So let's begin with the leave create program. So to create this, so if you're on a different program and you want to go to another transaction \n, so we want to go to the ABAP editor, which is SE38. So we are here to create the program, and let's give the name of this program. We'll call it ZZ Leave Create _25. So click on the create button, leave every other thing untouched, create, and we give it a title. So the title will be submit leave request. The type of the program here will be executable program. Then save, we save to the package that we have been using, which is this, and then save to the transport request. Okay, so we are here. So we need to write the program for this. So for the program, we need to add what we call selection screen. Selection screen provides a parameter fields for the user to enter their parameters. So let's create the selection screen, or let's initialize the parameters for the selection screen. So these are the parameters: the employee ID parameter, the start date parameter, the end date parameter, and the type of leave parameter. So we created this data type. If you double click on this, okay, if you check the field label, yeah, so double click on this, takes us to the data element. If we see the domain for this data element and check the value range, you will see the fixed values for the type of leave: annual leave, sick leave, emergency leave. Okay, so then create a local variable required ID that is typed with the required ID. This is generated automatically. Okay, so we're going to add a path for the selection screen. And so to add that, you have to write start of selection, and then we're going to call on the method from the global class to create requests. So our global class is the leave manager. Then we call on the method create request, but let's check. I think it's create request 2. The name is create request 2. Double click on this. Before we go, we need to save. Yes. And yeah, this one, create request 2. We call on that method from the global class. And so we need to also fill in the exporting parameters from the method here and the importing parameters. So if you double click this, we need to save, of course. So for the create request, click on this, click on the parameters. So you could see here that we have importing parameter to be employee ID, start date, end date, the type, and then the exporting parameter is the required ID. So we need to also indicate this in the report. So let's go back. So these are the exporting parameters. So we now need to link the exporting parameter with the input parameters from the user. So employee ID entered by the user will be equal to the employee ID importing parameter that will be using the method create request. So the start date is linked or matched to the start date, or yeah, likewise the end date and the type of leave. Then we need to add the importing parameter and then end it with a period. Okay, so here we go. We save this, then we do a Ctrl F2. So it said no syntax errors found in the report. Then activate. Oh, we should not activate yet. We need to print the report. So we need to just create a write statement. Says leave request created successfully. This is, and then print out the required ID for this request. So if you write a code like this, there's what we call pretty printer. So click on this to adjust the alignments of the code, and then we can save again, and then activate. So it said object activated. Okay, so this is what the program does. The employee enters the ID manually. So let's test this. Let's run it. So we can use the F8 or this button here, and then you see we have the input screen for submit leave request, employee ID, start date, end date, type of leave. So this is not looking good. So I wanted to do this at the end to clean up, but let's do this now. What we can do here is that we can change this text to user-friendly texts. So let's go back. To do this, we use the text elements, this one here, and then click on selection texts. So this, we could actually use the data dictionary reference. So that is the data elements, what you gave as the short description, the medium description will be used. So for this we have, but for the date, since we use inbuilt date, data type for date, so it is not available from the data dictionary. So we need to provide here, so we can say leave end dates and leave start date. So let's save this, and also we need to activate. So here you can check the status of your object. So this is active. So if we go back and then we run this again, you could see employee ID, leave start dates, end date. Okay, maybe this was not provided in the data dictionary. So let's go back and just enter it manually. So text elements, selection text. So here we can see you have to uncomment this, leave type. Yeah, so there's a correction. I need to use this employee ID that I created because let me save this. If you double click on this, you can see the field label will have employee ID, employee ID, employee ID. So let's go back, activate this code, do syntax check, Control F2, then Control F3. Now let's go to the text element once again and selection text. So let's say use it from the data dictionary, and we can activate here, activate. Yeah, okay. So let's run this again. Now you have employee ID, start of leave, leave end dates, the type of leave. Now let's see employee ID. So in future we could, create a value help here to see all the employee IDs if that is necessary. Then here the leave start date, you could enter the start of the date of the leave and then the type of the leave. So here there's a value help already provided here. You could select it. Okay, so let's do an example. Employee ID, let's say E010. Okay, then what is the start of the leave? We can say, 1 month leave to 02 or 8. So what's the type of the leave? Then just use the value help to select from it. And let's say annual leave. Okay, then you can just click on confirm or enter. So click on this one to execute. Yeah, so here it says leave request created successfully and request ID 21. Remember, we have been using the number range. So each request you create automatically creates a new request ID using the number range. Okay, so this is how we create. So leave request has been created successfully. And of course, if you go to the SE11 ABAP dictionary and you check the database for the leave request, you'll see that the employee ID with 10 and annual leave was created. So let's check this. So let's check this database, the leave request database display, and when it's displayed, we can check the contents of the table. Just execute for now. So this was the last one we created. You could see the required ID here as 21 and the employee ID here as 10. So if I make it, so employee ID, this is the start date for the request, is the end date, it's the annual leave, and then the status is pending. Request date, we need to fill. The approval ID for the manager, we need to also fill. Okay. All right, let's proceed. So we'll proceed by creating the second report, which is the approve report. So we'll use the ABAP editor SE38 to create the new program. So the program that I want to create now is the, let's say, ZZ leave underscore approve underscore 25. Then click on create. So actually this leave approve will take in the manager input ID and then the output to be a list of requests with the status pending. So the manager selects a request and chooses which one to approve or which one to reject. So the title of this now we can call it the approve or reject leave request. And so it's an executable program. The type, we select executable program here, save right here, okay? And then save to this package. I write 35, I want to write 25. It's okay. Okay, save. And then we need to write the program for this to happen. Okay, so always ensure that you are in edit mode. So we add the code to the report, and first we need to create the parameters or the parameter which will be the manager ID. Yeah, so this is the type for the manager. Of course, if you are lost so far on how to create the types, the data elements and the data types and domain, we've covered it extensively in the ABAP dictionary series, and also alongside this project we've covered it, so have a look. And of course, if you still have questions, just leave a comment in the comment section. If you double click on this, of course you need to save before leaving, so you could see the manager ID, the field labels. Okay, so the next thing we need to do, so the manager ID typed as manager ID, then the required ID, so then the type or what the manager wants to do, A for approve and R for reject. Okay, so we've created the data types and data elements for this. Okay, now we need to also now add the start of selection screen. Put the period here, and then we can write a switch statement to alternate between the reject and approve case. So when the decision, which is like parameter for decision here, pdec, so when A, it should approve, or when it's R, it should reject. So for the approve, when it's A for the approve, we are going to go to the global class and then call on the method approve request. And when it is R, we go to the global class and call on the method reject. Our global class is the ZSCL leave manager underscore 25. Then we call on the approve request. So if we double click on the global class, once again, say before leaving. So the approve request is this. So we got the naming convention right. And then we add the exporting parameters and for the approve requests, and then write the print statement. Yeah, so for consistency's sake, I'm going to change this right here to 24 because the required ID here, we're exporting the required ID. The data type used in here is the required ID 24. So if we use 25 here, it's going to have compatibility issues. Okay, so when A selected, request is approved, and when it's R, request is rejected. And then when any other case, invalid decision, use A for approve or R for reject. Then when we save this, let's check for syntax, Ctrl F2, and yeah, no syntax error found, so let's activate, Ctrl F3. This is activated. Okay, let's test the program, execute this. So manager ID, required ID, decision. So let's use a more user-friendly text in the UI here. So we go to text elements, we go to selection text. So for the decision, it was not provided in the data dictionary, so you can just see decision. Then for the manager ID, you can get it from the ABAP dictionary data elements that we created. And so we can save this and then activate, Ctrl F3. See here, the status has changed to active. Go back and let's execute again, F8 rather. So you see manager ID, required ID, decision. So in subsequent, we need to provide value help so that you can see the required ID that is available, then select the required ID and then make your decision. So for test purpose, let's say the manager ID is manager 021. He wants to approve the request that was provided by the required ID 21, which we created in the last example. So 21, then the decision. Here also, let's use reject R to signify that he wants to reject the request. So what happens here is that we can also provide value help here, so search help, and click on execute. Okay, it says leave request not found. So let's go back. Probably the required ID. So the required ID was too much zeros, I guess. So let's reduce this and then reject. That's why search help is important. And let's execute one more time. Yeah, so it's a request rejected. So if we go to the ABAP dictionary to check our table and then \n SE11. So this is our request table. We click on display, then this execute. So this is the request ID 21, and then see the status has changed to rejected, and we can also expect the manager. So this should be approver ID. So let's try to fix that. So we change the type here to approve ID. Control save again. Control F2. Sorry, not this one. This one is what we need to change. Control F2. Yeah, no syntax. Control F3. So let's execute one more time. Manager approver ID. So let's change this instead of manager ID to approver ID to make more sense. Text elements. Selection text. So let's call it approver ID because HR also can approve. Edit mode. Okay, so let's run this again. Oh, I wanted to change this to approver ID. Maybe I did not activate. Yeah, it's inactive. So okay, so let's run this again. I'm going to leave this debugging process so that you can also learn from this. So activate, then execute. So now it's approver ID. So let's say MG021 and required ID 21. Then, so now let's use accept. So execute this. So it's a request approved. So in future, we could say request approved for this ID and for this employee. This is what we can improve in future. And yeah, let's go to the ABAP dictionary now. C11. Let's check the table, the database leave request table. So display, check the contents of the table, then execute. So we expect 21. This is the required ID here. And then you can see now that the approval ID is manager 21. Okay, so request date. You can add this in the program, request dates to use current dates. This will fix at the end. Okay, so this is how far I'll go for this part of the video, and in the next video we are going to look at how the employee can see his or her request history, the manager overview. Manager can see the pending requests, and of course adding search helps, and then we will be done with the part of this program, and we could also try to add Web Dime Pro. All right, so thank you for watching, and if you are new to my channel, don't forget to like this video and hit the subscribe.